Dearly redheaded, we are choosing consciousness today to get through this thing called grief. Interesting word, grief. It means love, which makes for a mighty good joke. But I'm here to tell you, there's nothing else. Just joy. And if the big picture tends to bring you down, go crazy once your life goes. Woo!
It's Wednesday, sometime in February or March, and I have Kerry McAvoy coming on for episodes 4 and 5. Last time Kerry was on, she had done a great job, and I cited something she did on a video alluding to the areas of the brain affected by trauma, which then caused me to research and get to the bottom of deep brain reorienting. This time around, she wants to not discuss CPTSD, but talk about what consistently comes up in her audience, which is what I am very interested in when I talk to professionals. Like, what are they finding in the field? What are they hearing? And she wants to talk about the confusion paradox, why toxic relationships leave us questioning our own reality and assuming responsibility for relational failure. She wants to talk about the initial attraction trap, what makes emotionally immature narcissistic individuals so compelling at first, and why red flags become invisible. Yeah, mine was 6'2", great legs. It was 22. What did I know?
I thought he was 6'2" and he had great legs.
He had legs that all the abuse in the world won't make me forget. Yeah, I was shallow. What can I say? And then beyond conflict resolution, why traditional communication strategies fail and can backfire in toxic dynamics. Which of the three things she wants to talk about, that's the one that interests me the most. I mean, I have my own opinion, but I'd like to know what she shares with her audience. So that's where we're headed in episodes 4 and 5. So stay tuned. What I thought I'd do today, and since Tim is new, is do a little bit of a recap of the things that have occurred over the last several months that we've really talked about on the podcast, and then there's some sort of manifestation. And I already spoke to the biggest one, in my opinion, was getting to the basis of the deep brain injury where PTSD is concerned. That's probably the one for which I'm most proud. I think a close second is learning that a handful of states and a handful more are developing legislation where coercive control is concerned. And that works both ways, all genders. It's not just about women. I think when women stand up and legislation like this is passed, it gives men their voice back too. So I always try to mention both genders, all genders, where that's concerned. So that's huge. And New York, last I knew, was pending. And I actually, again, to relate it back to that law app, the NYAYAM app, was the app was on point, knowing that that's pending in New York. So that's another neat thing about that usage. I'm also very proud that, as much as I beat the drum in the beginning of this podcast where dissociation was concerned, because it just you can be dissociated and not depressed. It's just it affects dementia. It affects ADHD. Dissociation is huge. And then I was finally months into the podcast saying, great, I've identified this dissociation, but what is it about me that caused me to dissociate? And that's where I made the correlation for myself and others where domestic Stockholm is concerned, workplace Stockholm, familial Stockholm, marital, I don't know what I've said, all the above. And then I also was able to be set straight by my bringing up of the documentary Bad Hostage, which just reminded me that the origination of Stockholm wasn't all bells and rainbows. It was it had a negative side to it, a misinformation side where it was used to more or less control women more than acknowledge them being in survival mode. I'm still using the word Stockholm to mean the good things about it, but just want to acknowledge that the origination was misconstrued. And then I think it's worth mentioning my distinction on antisocial personalities versus the whole narcissism trap. And yes, antisocials are narcissistic. Are all narcissistic people antisocial? No. But there is definitely a hierarchy in behavior, with the most dysfunctional influencing the more mainstream human experience, which includes narcissism. So my point is just an awareness thing that it's run-of-the-mill dysfunction is vastly different from what the sickest among us are capable of. And I also have commented that I wish the sickest among us to have some ability for redemption. I just can't help not wanting that for them. I've also addressed rage in women. I think we're more comfortable, even though we don't offer solutions to men who rage and have anger. I think bringing to the forefront rage in women is huge, because it is not nearly as uncommon as I was led to believe after a rage event. It was warranted, and it was a horrific yet very cleansing experience. Yeah. So there we go. That's what we've kind of done over the last several months, and I hope I've made it funny enough. Sometimes I wonder if if I've made it funny enough. That's why I'm interested in being available through Zoom events and live events, because I want to have more interaction. Not. Let me clarify. I'm going to do one event a week. I'm not going to. I still have to maintain some distance from what I talk about, because it is so. I feel it. So I have to do something about it and figure out and not how to have it come into me and take over more than I'm willing to give up. Make sense?
Absolutely.
So this is where we start to spitball. What do you want to tell and share about yourself, if anything?
Related to what, Joanne? What do we want to talk about?
I don't know. What made you interested in doing this with me? Because I made a switch.
Yeah.
And you very kindly said that you were, you didn't draw a short straw.
Oh,
that
no.
you that you were, I don't know. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but this was something you wanted
Yeah, why not? Obviously, as I've said in the other episodes so far that I've been on, I do pick the clips for your episode, so I get to see what you're doing. I like the subject matter. I, of course, have, not a course, but I guess it makes sense. I've had childhood trauma, everything like that, so...
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, of course, right. Why would you? Yeah, there's a lot of reasons. Psychology is my background. I have a BA in psychology.
I didn't know that.
I have a minor in sports psychology, but with that, really, it's what do we call it? It's sports psychology is what we'll call it. But really, it was for life skills, things like that, like just trying to peak human performance, things like that, and that includes everything. Because if your mind's not working right, you're not going to be a good athlete. You're not going to be good at anything. So there's that. Now you're learning a lot.
Say that again?
I said, now you're learning a lot.
Well, that's why I figured I'd put you on the spot.
Yeah, of course. I'm an open book.
Thank you. Because I don't want to make you feel awkward.
Not at all.
Did you go into sports psychology thinking you'd end up working with athletes, or was it just learning more about the human condition coupled with...
Yeah, more of that because, like I said, it's under sports psychology. That's what the minor was. But like I said, it wasn't strictly athletes. It's just helping anybody become their best self. We talked a lot. One thing was about people talk about the flow state, everything like that. So like learning how to achieve that. Because like you can get into the flow state when you're cooking. If you're just, everything's jiving, everything's just moving correctly. It's just how do you access that? So things like that. So it really wasn't like I wasn't trying to be picked up by an NFL team to make their quarterback great or anything.
Yeah, there's one of my friends' sons is interested in sports psychology because of his own high level of trauma and wanting to do something about it where that athletes are concerned.
Sure.
Or, like you say, people that push themselves for peak events, whatever.
Going back to your guest, obviously this is going to come out later, but with Will, another big thing for sports psychology was helping with the military, too. Dealing with those individuals, not just athletes, but also the military personnel. That was another big aspect of it.
Yeah, I've said it. I think I said it because it made such an impact on me when I watched The Waves of War about the military.
Yeah, in Waves End War, I think, maybe. Whatever, I know.
No, thank you. One man said he doesn't think we'd have a military if it wasn't for child abuse.
No, probably not.
And that, let me see if I can get it. In my rabbit hole this morning, I was asking... what portion of our population is more antisocial disordered?
Okay.
And the reasons why totally avoided abuse, but said antisocial behaviors start to play in often under age 12, 13, but there was no correlation made. You have the genetics, your brain has the propensity. There was no correlation made to the actual accounting of abuse to make that manifest, which I thought was really fucking interesting. But who am I? Anyway, you see my point? It's still like we're still gunning for, no pun intended, the medical side of things, not the organic, environmental.
Sure, why would we blame those?
We wouldn't have a military. Why acknowledge them?
What?
Yeah, I wonder, and I can't. I have no interest in doing, aside from a comedic aspect to helping people process something and getting in the mud and helping people relieve their brains comedically, because I've said before, I don't think it's so much about like laughter at something funny. It's that pseudobulbar effect of when comedy and humor is a release. You know, like you were laughing at me that I can still comment on my ex's legs. You know,
Right.
You know, it's funny.
It is funny. Absolutely. And it's necessary.
Yeah, but it's not going to be either I'm trying to do something and how well received it's going to be remains to be seen. But I think there's a lot of people who can't look at the people that have mistreated them and find the humor in it. And that's very different. That's a very different type of humor. It's not that it doesn't exist. That's not what I mean.
Sure.
But it's a very different type of humor than what you go see a comedian, you want to laugh, but you don't necessarily want to laugh at yourself for tolerating and enduring crap, and I do.
Sure.
I do, because if I don't laugh at it, I just have to get beyond it, and we'll see. I'm going to shut up there. So back to you. So you come out of school, have that degree, then what?
Then I was working.
How old are you? May I ask?
Yeah, of course.
Well,
Well,
you're not supposed
You know
to.
what the? Oh, well. Take a guess. I'd like a guess first.
Shit. You're one of those who could go either way.
Really?
I suspect you're about 26.
That's a good guess.
Okay. How old are you?
28.
Okay.
So that was a good guess.
But you could also be 31 because of how you present yourself.
Yeah,
So I was
I've been
like,
being told I was like 26 since I was 19.
yeah, I was one of those. I know exactly what you mean. And then you catch up. Eventually.
Yeah. Well, I always tell this one to people. I'd go to, for a while I went with my father to church. These are people that knew me my whole childhood. Now, obviously, though, I wasn't with my father for a bit. That's, a different part of it. So removed for a little bit, but it's like, okay. These are people that knew me when I was like 6 and so. I come back 8 years later. I can't be 26. And yet, they're still like, how old are you now? This age? It's like, no, I'm 16.
Oh my God. Yeah. Before I guessed, I was picturing, I was picturing my own son. And I'm actually really, really grateful, and it's all happening now, that you're doing this with me, because I think it's a lot of what I talk about is so pertinent to your generation.
Sure.
Your generation wants to understand this stuff.
Absolutely.
And poo-poos my generation and older that want to put it under the carpet.
Sure. Absolutely.
So your generation is seeking accountability.
Yeah.
Oh.
For sure. And that is another reason that I was interested. I was like, you know what? I'm like, she recognizes it. I can get behind this.
Yeah. My and I'm careful about my boys, but I'm not like paranoid.
Sure.
But, one in particular wanted me to heal. But I don't think he knew what that meant.
Yeah. Right. Of course. I get that.
I didn't. And I can't speak for him, but I didn't know what it was going to take.
Sure.
Until I was
in it.
Yeah. And then it's like, and I think that's what's so hard. I was talking to, I'm all over the place now because I am being flooded, but I was talking to a friend of mine who did something to not with malice, but she did something where her son was concerned that infuriated her son. And from where I sat, I was on team son.
Right. You felt he was justified.
Oh
in this
my
feeling.
God. So justified. And she brought up to me that she hadn't spoken to him I don't know. It's they have a precarious relationship, but she hadn't spoken to him for a week or two because she had done XYZ.
Sure.
And she just was still, and this is a woman who, this is a good woman. And it wasn't until I said to her, and it took me, she had talked to me over the phone, but I couldn't resonate with me when I saw her face and the anguish, because she was gunning for understanding why this particular thing would set him off. And I just said to her with a short variation, I said, what if that had been done to you? And she went like this. She hadn't even been able to consider that she would probably, in her circumstance, have the same reaction.
Sure.
And then she didn't have to talk about it anymore. And how she handles it is up to her. But because she is so immersed in her own pain and grief, so very often parents don't see what they're doing to their kids. And I don't mean something physical or...
Sure, that they're seeing.
Yeah, or saying something horrible. This was something she honestly thought would help him feel better. And no.
Right.
So, yeah, your generation requires a lot. And I think it's a misnomer, and I've said it before, that we're breaking cycles. As a parent, the only cycle I can break is my own. I am definitely not assisting the generation below me who I made mistakes with. They then have to figure it out for themselves, which I think they are more willing to do.
I would agree mostly. I think, it's the age-old thing, like, not exactly, but related to how every time it's going to be the good old days, and then these new generations are the worst. That's how, the older generations always look down on the new generations. So I think it's the same thing, though, where it's like, at some point we're going to become that older generation. We're going to realize how many people are wrong in that, too.
Yeah. Remains to be seen. I find that my kids, because of all what's been technology and what's been so rapid in updates and just how rapidly life has moved the last 2-3 decades, I find that my one kid in particular acts like I have one foot in the grave at 56. Like I am old. And I have never felt that about, somebody 56. No. I think they're like just able to reinvent themselves and do what they need to do.
Absolutely.
So it's interesting, but it is much older when it comes to trying to bridge the gap in emotional conversations and things that your generation has had so much more insight into than ours did. And I have to believe that you have that insight because generally we have been moving towards a more harmonious, emotional, connectedness type of desire, even though it doesn't stand up for everybody, but it stands up with it. Like, I feel like if I've offered my sons nothing else, I definitely taught them how to be selective about a life partner. So, like, there's that.
Sure.
I can tell you 69 things I did wrong, but when
That's
it comes...
a good number.
Yeah, I use it a lot. I don't know why. Yeah, I do. But anyway, so, like, we're in there. We're trying. We did do... I did do things that would springboard them to making better decisions in certain arenas.
Sure.
Business, life partner, and then there's the stuff that I didn't do so hot because I had no
How are you supposed to do good if you don't know how?
That's yeah. And now that I know better, it's the timing is off because I already indoctrinated them to what I didn't know was a big problem, and how I would have handled it differently, even that if I knew. I don't know. I might have done the same. Who knows? It doesn't matter. It's gone. But we're at 25.
Oh yeah. See how quick it goes?
Yeah. So you 26, 28. How long have you been doing this type of work?
I've been here now going on this in March of this year. I would have been here 3 years.
Okay. And you're enjoying, I know a little bit about what you do, but you're enjoying this type of work.
Oh, absolutely. I get to work with my best friend. Yeah.
I don't know who that is, so
That's
I won't ask, but
that's all right.
that's nice.
The graphic designer here.
Oh, I don't know.
I've been friends with him since middle school.
Oh, I don't think I've met him.
Yeah, probably not, because Logan, the other graphic designer, is the one that did the flyer and stuff for you.
Oh.
So Louis, the other graphic designer,
Gotcha.
best friend since 6th grade.
Wow.
Worked almost every job together too. So why not do this one?
So do you miss the psychology shit or no?
I like it. It's something I always liked, even as a kid, and I don't know why I didn't first go into that. I actually originally was a pharmacy student.
Okay.
And so I have brains. And I was doing that until I had to take care of my grandmother, and she sadly passed, but I wasn't keeping up with schoolwork because I was taking care of her full time. So
Tim,
dropped out of that.
I didn't know you did that.
Yeah. Well, why would you? They didn't give you a file on me when you came in.
That's because that takes.
So
that was something you wanted to do. Roped in or
no,
wanted?
I like pharmacy. I like chemistry. I like all
Your
that
grandmother.
stuff. Oh, yeah. Of course, why wouldn't I?
You say that like I would say that, like so few people would say that. Right?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but yeah, yeah.
She must have enjoyed that.
To a degree. I mean, who wants to be,
Oh, you mean from the aspect of the word just meaning having. I know what you mean, but I can't think of the word I mean.
Having to accept help
like
and everything.
dignity?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, with that aspect a little bit, she definitely, wasn't too pleased. Also, which none of this matters, but I'm mad I didn't pick up on it because I should have. She definitely was out there a few times. I didn't realize that she had a UTI, and obviously that was messing with her.
Big time.
Yeah, and I don't know why that never clicked with me at first. And when we took her to the hospital and they said that, I was like, what an idiot! I should have known.
I can't believe you just even. Yeah, they can wreak havoc, and you'd start. I would start to think about how many women, in particular, I know they affect men, would be sitting in nursing homes, and these would largely go undetected.
And the biggest, I think, the thing with her, was that she always I'm trying to think, when she was 40 or so, I think she got real bad bouts of vertigo and stuff, and she took medication for it. So we thought it was the vertigo messing with her. Different things of how she was disoriented. I didn't even consider that it was a UTI or anything. So I'll give myself some grace on that. But then when there was other things happening, I was like, oh, I should have known that's what it was.
Yeah, and I because they were so chronic and it had a lot to do with the way my mom was built and personal things that I want people to think about but not get too personal. She was a candidate for chronic, so I ended up putting her on a low grade antibiotic because it was just something that by the time
one would get kicked, another was starting.
Well, yeah, and it became. Yeah, I've picked on hospice before. I like to pick on hospice. Hospice had a much higher tolerance for that stuff than I did. Meaning, I know what they felt like. Not that bothers the elderly as much as it would bother a younger person, because I could argue it affects them differently, the brain and
Sure,
whatever. But hospice was much slower to address something like that.
Right.
And that is because they're in that down cycle mode, whereas
Right.
I'm like, I don't care. That
It's
goes
still
with,
quality of life,
right.
even though that is fleeting. It's still quality.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad you mentioned it, because they definitely are something that I should stockpile antibiotics for when I'm 106 and need them.
There we
But
go.
anyway, all right, my dear. I am very glad that you're here, and I didn't even consider until you were here how cool it would be, and I don't want to get teary to have someone similar in age to my son, because I miss him.
That's fair. How old is your son in comparison? You don't have to give exact if you just want to be like,
No,
he's a few
he'll
years.
be 27 in June,
Okay, all right.
and my
all right.
younger one will be 24 April 1st. He's an April Fooler.
Ah. I'm a New Year's Eve baby.
Oh, wow.
Everybody celebrates.
Wow.
That's what I like to tell people.
You know, Betty White went out on New Year's Eve.
I know, that was a bad one.
Well, no, I thought it was cool. People were like, it's unfortunate she didn't break 100. I'm like, I think that's a great day to go out on.
It's fair.
And be born on, too, I might add.
Good tax deduction for my parents.
Well, there's that. There's that. There's that. Wow, that's a neat one. People won't forget that. Now, so you're, what's your sign? I know your sign, because I have a sibling with the same sign. Shit. What is it? What are you looking at me like that for?
I just wanted to make sure that you really want the answer and you don't want to take one guess. Because it seemed like you were right there. So
Capricorn?
There you are, see?
Oh,
You didn't
I
need to say it.
had to think of,
I could tell it was there.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't want to take it.
Yeah. Capricorns, I mean, not that I'm a huge astrology person, but there's interesting aspects to astrology that play out with me. I'm a Cancer. My one son is a Cancer,
right.
and my younger son is an Aries. Aries are interesting blokes, but I mean, I have fun with it. I not hook, line, and sinker with it. But Capricorn. I was told never mind. Let me not go there. But all right, my friend.
All right.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Thank you for listening and supporting Natural Born Redhead. If you follow the bouncing balls, please like and subscribe. If you know someone interested in sparing others grief and inciting joy, message me on Facebook or reach out via my website, Natural Born Redhead. J-Ma.